Beachside Love by Winston North. Tracy woke on this Saturday morning in not so good of a mood. For no particular reason, she just felt blah. She went through her normal morning routine: shower, teeth, get dressed, hair, makeup, but she couldn't shake the blues she was feeling. The sun was shining. The temperature was a perfect 76 degrees. The noisy neighbors were quiet for a change, but she couldn't get into a better state of mind.
Damn, I got to shake this mood,
she told herself, but how? What were her go-tos? She could go to the beach and paint, or she could people watch at the mall, which were her two favorite things to do.
Painting it is then.
She decided and grabbed her supplies, which were always ready to go. Hopping in the car, she took off for the beach. She had about a 40-minute drive to the beach, and that turned out to be one of her worst commutes ever. There was way more traffic today, due to it being the first really nice day since summer started. People driving too slow, people not using their turn signals, people speeding up on her butt, beeping at her when she clearly had nowhere to go. She had bad commutes to the beach before, but no, this drive was the worst by far, and added to her already frustrating state. 40 minutes had turned into 90 by the time she made it to the beach. Taking a moment to calm herself before getting out of the car, she was determined to have a better day now that she had made it to her destination, because putting brush to canvas always made her forget her troubles. After gathering her supplies, she headed to the spot she had been scoping out for weeks earlier, hoping that it was not occupied. Tracy found that this was the perfect place for her. For weeks, she found that no one had ever come to this area, even though it had the best view of the sunset and sunrise. Quiet, beautiful, and isolated, just how she wanted it to be. As she turned the corner around the rocks, Tracy's ire rose as she groaned to herself.
You've got to be kidding me. Of course, today of all days,
she thought as she rolled her eyes in frustrated indignance as she advanced around the turn into this rocky section of the beach. There was some guy there with a painting setup already staring out over the scene.
Well, I will not be dissuaded,
Tracy mumbled under her breath as she walked up to the spot.
Excuse me, but I would like to sit here and paint. You okay with that?
She said a little more sharply than she intended. The gentleman turned his head slowly and smiled back at her.
Of course. This scene is way too beautiful for just one person to enjoy, so please join me.
Tracy felt herself starting to deflate as the stranger spoke. That smile, those eyes so dark that they looked like black mirrors, as if he could see straight through her. His skin was a smooth, dark chocolate tone that made him not look his age at all. Only the grey around his temples showed that he was older. Shaking her head to break what felt like a spell he was casting on her, she began to set up her painting supplies.
Thank you, and sorry for being short. Just having a rough day,
she told him in apology.
What a travesty for someone so beautiful to be having a rough go on such a glorious day as this,
he said, so smooth and even that she knew he meant every word. If anyone else had said those words to her, it would have been creepy and sent up her defenses, but not him. He had the total opposite effect on her. She even found that she had started to blush.
Blush? I don't blush,
she said to herself as the warmth she felt in her cheeks increased. She smiled, but didn't say anything back. She was not going to let this guy, albeit a gorgeous, smooth, delicious-looking guy, distract her from her painting. She turned to her canvas and began to bury herself in her work. Glancing out of the corner of her eye, after what had to be quite a few minutes later, considering the amount of work on her painting that had been blocked in, she could see that he was still smiling that glorious smile, but it didn't seem he was paying her any attention. For some reason, this stung a little, and she didn't know why. Didn't she want to be left alone and just to be able to paint in peace? Yes, but why did it feel like she was missing something she didn't even know she wanted? Shaking away the thought, she concentrated back on her work. Hours went by before she was done, and started to pack up her supplies. Strangely though, he started packing up as well.
Did you capture what you wanted from this scene today, mon ange?
He said, not looking at her as he packed.
Yes, very much so. It was a good day, and my brushes just flowed, like they had a mind of their own.
She responded.
Where did that come from?
She thought to herself, she never talks so freely to anyone, especially about her work.
Who is this guy?
Tracy wondered as she really looked at him for the first time. He was tall, about 6'3", lean and yet extremely muscular for his physique. She could tell, even through his loose-fitting linen short-sleeved shirt. His arms rippled with every movement as he put his brushes into their leather roll-up case. She couldn't take her gaze off him. His movements, as subtle as they were, had the grace of a classically instructed dancer or a well-trained fighter. Captivated by the sight of him, she was startled when he spoke, snapping her back to reality.
As did I. I believe I captured the most beautiful image of all today.
He said as he stood.
Mind if I take a look?
He asked politely.
Sure, be my guest.
Is all she replied. This mysterious, dark-eyed man rotated her painting so he could get a better look at it.
This is exquisite work.
He exclaimed.
Definitely beautiful the way you captured the beach, the water and the light, but…
But,
Tracy exclaimed in defense of her work.
what does he mean by but?
She thought to herself.
I believe I captured the true essence of today's beauty.
He purred. Tracy raised an eyebrow, ready to defend her work from some guy who didn't even know her. Just before she could start to speak, he turned his painting around, and it made her take a breath and step back. He had painted her, painting her scene, and it was the most beautiful thing that she had ever seen. It was like he saw her, actually saw her, down to the biting of her lower lip, when she really got into the zone. She looked back into the dark pools that were his eyes and got lost.
Yes, mon ange. You were by far the most beautiful thing out here today and I had to capture it. Please, take it, it is yours. So when next you wake in a poor mood like today, you can remember that on this day how you felt after letting the beauty of this sunset wash over and through you, while your body worked to capture it through your painting. And, I say this in sincere humbleness. Know that you shine brighter than any sun and more beautiful than any sunset.
And with that, he grabbed his supplies and turned and walked off down the beach. Tracy paused for a moment. She was frozen in that spot, not just by the beautiful words he spoke, but the overwhelming sincerity in them.
Wait, I can't keep this.
She yelled as he kept walking, finally coming to her senses.
It is not polite to refuse a gift, mon ange.
Is all he said, smiled and turned to walk away again.
Can you, at least tell me your, name?
She sputtered. He stopped, turned and looked right at her with those eyes. She felt the heat of his wanting, even from the distance he was from her.
If fate deems we met again, mon ange, you shall have my name, and so very much more.
And with that, he bowed, turned, walked away, and then… Tracy still felt the heat of his gaze on her skin. Her whole body was in a state of bliss. After standing there for much longer than she should have, she grabbed her stuff and walked back to her car. After putting her art supplies in the car, the only thing left for her to load was his painting. Picking up the painting, she turned it around to look at it one more time before packing it away. She instantly felt his presence again as she looked at it, as if he were right there. If it wasn't for the fact she had this painting in her hands, she would have thought this a dream.
Am I going crazy?
She blurted with a nervous laugh. Shaking her head, Tracy carefully packed away the painting, got in the car and left for home, totally prepared for the same ride home as she had coming to the beach. She pulled out onto the road, but this time there was no traffic. She hit every green light, and there were no noises, even coming from the 24-hour party house next door. Setting down her things from the car, she took up his painting one more time, holding it at arm's length. The details were unmatched.
No way this is what he saw. I am not this beautiful.
Were her thoughts, but just like before, the warmth of his presence washed over her, soothing her spirit. With a sigh, Tracy's body started subconsciously completing tasks, cleaning and drying her brushes, putting food in the microwave, even showering, leaving her brain to wonder about what she had just experienced at the beach. Was it real? Did it really happen? Or was it all just a figment of her imagination?
I don't know what is happening to me, but I hope I find him again.
She said to herself as she climbed into bed. She was exhausted from the day and was out before her head even hit the pillow. As she drifted off into a dream, Tracy found herself on the beach again. But was it that beach? It looked similar, but something was definitely different. As she turned about, taking in the area, she stopped in her track, because there he was, standing in the sand, as if he had been waiting there just for her. She walked up to him, put her hands on his broad chest, and looked up into those eyes again. She just stared, and he just smiled.
I want to see you again.
She breathed. He put his hands over hers. She felt him, his touch and his breath, as he kissed the top of her head. He pulled her close, kissed her forehead once more, as he started to disappear again. But she heard his melodious voice say,
"You will, mon ange. You will."
Thank you for taking the time to listen to my tale. Please subscribe to the channel for updates to this and other stories as they post to the channel. Remember to like the video so more people get a chance to enjoy these tales. This is Winston North, and I bid you good day and farewell. Till the next time.